Hello students, welcome to our afternoon read aloud. So I'm very excited today to be reading a different kind of information book to you about corn. And the thing that makes this book different, let me explain. So most information books use photographs, right? So this book about corn has a lot of photographs. It has a diagram with a photograph. It has a photograph of a girl enjoying corn, right? So many information books use photographs. But then I showed you another kind of information book by Gail Gibbons and explained to you that Gail Gibbons is a very special writer and illustrator because she uses drawings. She still is teaching us information in her All About Thanksgiving book, but she uses drawings. She has captions, right? She has maps, but she draws the illustrations by hand, right? So today's book is very fun. It also is a hand-drawn information book. It's called the Popcorn Book. And many of you wrote when we had to write all about corn that popcorn was one of your favorite ways to enjoy eating corn. So I thought this would be especially nice. And on the cover, I see two little boys with a big bowl of popcorn and two smiling cats. And on the back, there is more popcorn. And this is by Tomie de Paola. And if you recognize that name or maybe recognize the way the faces of the boys are drawn, Tomie de Paola is famous for writing and illustrating the Strega Nona series. Okay, so this is The Popcorn Book by Tomie de Paola. The Popcorn Book. So here's the title page, The Popcorn Book with the two cats. And I can see over here, one boy is watching television and the other boy is reading a book. And you can tell the book is a little old and the illustrations are old because look at, that's the kind of television they had when I was a kid, not like now. So they're watching television and then the television says, "And now a word from our sponsor." That means like a television commercial is coming up. And I can already see, if I sneak peek the page, that the boys are going to be talking a lot. I see some speech bubbles, so here we go. "Mom, can we make some popcorn?" "Yes, the popcorn's in the refrigerator." "Yummy!" Oh, and I can see on their shirts, one is named Tony and one is named Tiny. And look at them. I think they must be twins. "I wonder why Mom keeps the popcorn in the refrigerator." "I don't know. I'll go look it up." Oh, so I think one of them carries a book around and really likes to look things up in books. He's reminding me of Jack from Magic Treehouse. Here it is. "Popcorn is best stored in a tight jar in the refrigerator so the kernels keep their moisture." Boy, this is interesting. Listen. And look, the other boy is getting out the pan to get ready to pop corn. Popcorn is the oldest of the three main types of corn. There is field corn, which we feed to animals like cattle and pigs, sweet corn, which is the kind we eat, and popcorn. And he's getting out the oil to make, the cooking oil to make popcorn. Here we go. Popcorn was discovered by the Indian people in the Americas many thousands of years ago. One of the first sights Columbus saw in the New World was the Indians in San Salvador selling popcorn and wearing it as jewelry. So this boy, I can't remember if it's Tony or Teeny, he is reading out of the book. So his speech bubble is from the book. But the other twin is making the popcorn. So he says, "First I heat up the pan." So wow, it's almost like a how-to here. And this is like all about popcorn from the other twin. Isn't that cool? So he keeps talking. "But popcorn is even older than that. In a bat cave in New Mexico, archaeologists found some popped corn that was 5,600 years old." Archaeologists are scientists who study old things, very old things. Okay, he keeps talking. And 1,000-year-old popcorn kernels were found in Peru that could still be popped. The Indian people of the Americas had many different ways to pop popcorn. One way was to put an ear of corn on a stick and hold it over a fire. But many kernels were lost in the fire with this method. So that's one way that some Indians pop popcorn. And over here, the other twin is still making popcorn. He says, now the cooking oil. And look, he put on an apron to stay nice and tidy. Okay, so the book reading twin continues. Another way was to throw the kernels right into the fire by the handful. The popcorn popped out all over the place, so there was a lot of bending and running around to gather it up. In 1612, French explorers saw some Iroquois people popping corn in clay pots. They would fill the pots with hot sand, throw in some popcorn, and stir it with a stick. When the corn popped, it came to the top of the sand and was easy to get. Okay, and the other twin is still popping corn. Okay, now it's hot enough to add a few kernels. And still from the book, the Iroquois people were fond of popcorn soup. The Algonquins, who came to the first Thanksgiving dinner, even brought some popcorn in a deerskin pouch. The colonists liked it so much that they served popped corn for breakfast with cream poured on it, right? Like kind of like popcorn cereal. And here the other twin is looking over the shoulder of the one who's reading the book. He says, soup? Popcorn soup? Still reading? Today, Americans use 500 million pounds of popcorn each year. 30% is eaten at movies, circuses, ball games, and county fairs. 10% is saved for seed and sold to other countries, but 60% is popped right at home. Oh, goody, the kernels are popping. That means the oil must be ready. That's the way I learned to pop corn, where you put 3 kernels into the oil, and when they pop, 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 then you add the rest of the kernels. People in the Midwest buy more popcorn than in any part of the United States. Milwaukee and Minneapolis are the top popcorn-eating cities, followed by Chicago and Seattle. Most of the popcorn is grown in the Midwest, too. And now he says, now I'll put more kernels in the pan and turn the heat up. Now here's the part I read first. Popcorn is best stored in a tight jar in the refrigerator so the kernels keep their moisture. If the kernels dry out, there will be too many Old Maids left at the bottom of the pan. Old Maids are unpopped popcorn. If the popcorn does dry out, you can add 1 or 2 tablespoons of water to the jar and shake it until the water is absorbed. That means until the kernels soak the water back up. And here, the other twin is saying, he's thinking, it doesn't look like enough. So he's adding, oh my goodness, what do you think's going to happen? He's adding the whole rest of the popcorn from the jar. Oh, even the cats look worried. Popcorn pops because the heart of the kernel is moist and pulpy and surrounded by a hard starch shell. When the kernel is heated, the moisture turns to steam and the heart gets bigger until the shell bursts with a pop. This is reminding me of a little teapot getting steam, right? Except this is steam inside the kernel. Are you sure you didn't put too much popcorn in the pan? Of course not, silly. The Indian people had a legend that inside each kernel of popcorn lived a little demon. When his house was heated, he got so mad that he blew up. Look at that. There are different kinds of popcorn. White hull-less and yellow hull-less are the ones most commonly sold in stores. The smallest type is called strawberry because it has red kernels and the ears look like strawberries. Rainbow has red, white, yellow, and blue kernels. It is sometimes called calico. There is black popcorn too, but it all pops up white. The biggest kernels are called dynamite and snow puff. And here he's going shake, shake, shake. He's shaking the pan. After popcorn is popped, most people like to put melted butter and salt on it. But if salt is put in the pan before the kernels are popped, it makes the popcorn tough. And he's shake, shake, shake. He's trying to finish up the popcorn. There are many stories about popcorn. One of the funniest and best known comes from America's Midwest. One summer, it was so hot and dry that all the popcorn in the fields began to pop. In no time at all, the sky was filled with flying popcorn. It looked so much like a blizzard, everyone put on mittens and scarves and got out the snow shovels. Could that be true? Oh, that's just a fun story, right? And they're smiling. They know it's a fun story. Uh-oh! Help! I have a blizzard too. I knew you put too much popcorn in the pan. Okay, if you're so smart, what do we do now? I know. The best thing about popcorn is eating it. That's fun and funny. I hope they don't try to eat it all up and get a tummy ache. So that was the Popcorn Book by Tomie de Paola. And we learned so many cool things, right? So there was the boy with the brother with the glasses. I think that was, let me look at the beginning. His name was Tiny. And Tiny, throughout the book, was reading from a book about corn and popcorn, right? And then the other brother, Tony, was making the popcorn. And there were so many connections to facts about corn that we had already learned, as well as some new information. And there was a fun story, right? A fun story about popcorn seeming like a blizzard. In fact, I'm making a connection to the Paul Bunyan story. Remember when Paul Bunyan had his crew so far along and they didn't have food, and so he brought a wagon full of corn to them for food, and it exploded into popcorn, right? So I think that must be a kind of a regular kind of popcorn story, the idea that the heat from the sun can make it pop. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed our book about popcorn and enjoying a different kind of information book, right? This was drawn by hand, and it also had the characters talking or telling the information, which was different too, because it was all with speech bubbles, right? Anyway, have a great afternoon. Keep up with washing your hands, cover your coughs and sneezes, do some reading, do some writing, help your family around the house, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.